Every year, at the end of the year, I take time to remember and to reflect on all that has happened. Lamentations 3 says, God's compassion never fails. God's mercies are new every morning. And certainly I've experienced that this year. Early in March, when I had a health crisis that could have taken my life, I find myself reflecting at the end of this year, acutely aware of God's faithfulness, God's compassion that never fails. Perhaps you're feeling that too. In all that you've gone through the highs and the lows, God has been present. And that's been true in the story of our church family this year too. I've been thinking back over all the beautiful memories that we've shared together. And I want to invite you on a journey. Take in the pictures and the video and remember all of the different ways that God has shown us God's faithful love. Starting the year, we renewed our focus on deepening our relationship with God and each other at the celebration of our 59th church anniversary. Our exciting sanctuary project to update our audiovisual and lighting system started, which temporarily relocated us to the fellowship hall for our church services. Our young people led our worship services for our Adventure and Pathfinder Sabbath, and it was beautiful. We jumped into our seasonal Azure Hills Basketball League with over 300 kids participating. Black History Month brought speakers like Pastor Barone Savori to bless us, along with our own gospel choir, which lifted our hearts. Our pastors and Pathfinders partnered together to lead our yearly brunch in honor of our seniors. We held our vision night and shared exciting updates about our church and the plans God has for our future. Bloom Ministry, a ministry for our teen girls, held a Galentine's banquet. And our youth went out and fed the homeless. As spring blossomed, we came together in celebration and service. Easter weekend was a powerful reminder of Jesus' sacrifice, as we held an agape feast, a recreation of the Last Supper, and a musical celebration of the resurrection. With this season comes renewal, and we held our spring renewal weekend with guest speaker Richie Halverson. Our Pathfinders held a series of fundraisers all throughout this time: the color run, a car wash, flower arrangements for Mother's Day, and so much more, with all of the proceeds going towards our Gillette International Camporee. We rejoice together as a congregation in each person who chose to follow Jesus in baptism. The ordination of Pastor Gabriel Morales, our young adult and media pastor. Mother's Day and Father's Day Sabbath. The welcoming of our new youth pastor, Pastor George Tuyu, and his wife Leanna. The welcoming of each new member and family that God brought to our community. We celebrated our Diversity Sabbath through song, spoken word, and our guest speaker, Dr. John Webster from La Sierra University. The Pacific Union hosted an Adventist Christian Fellowship Conference for our college students who do not attend Seventh-day Adventist institutions for a week of empowerment, training, and worship in Hawaii, and our group had an unforgettable time. Kicking off our summer sermon series, God of Miracles, a journey through the book of Mark, Dr. Kendra Holoviak Valentine shared with us how we could understand the scripture more deeply. Hundreds of kids from our church and surrounding community gathered on our campus for Vacation Bible School. An unforgettable week diving into the love of God. This summer, we deepened our commitment to outreach. We launched a new video series called Connecting Generations, putting younger and older generations in conversation with each other. We began monthly prayer meetings led by Elder Jacob Maxwell. We came together as a church community to celebrate Pastor Steve's retirement after 40 years of pastoral ministry. This summer, also an epic road trip with our Pathfinders and their leaders, going to Gillette, Wyoming for the International Camporee. This week was unforgettable. Our new administrative pastor, Daniel Shisto, and his wife, Dr. Andrea, and son, Max, officially joined our church community. Our children's and family ministry held an outreach event with our kids at Linda Valley Villa Retirement Home. They also held a children's church when all age groups, cradle roll through juniors, gathered together for a collective Sabbath school experience. The theme for this year was Dig into the Heart of God, and they got their hands messy for Jesus. Wondering where to serve? We have you covered. Our 7th annual ministry fair gathered members of all ages, finding new ways to connect and serve. That very same weekend, we welcomed our guest speaker, Pastor Raywin Orlich. Her book, entitled In Grandpa's Shoes, An Invitation to Intergenerational Connection, shares how her grandfather, Eric Webster, helped to shape her life and inspire her ministry. The church board met for its yearly retreat in the Elias Community Center, where we spent time in worship, connection, and planning. Fall brought opportunities to serve both near and far. We held our yearly camp meeting, and this year's guests were Drs. David and Beverly Sedlacek. They gave us tools on how to untangle our relationships and welcome God's healing in our lives. We partnered with Adventist Community Services to support relief efforts in the South, launching our 4th quarter mission project collecting supplies to aid communities affected by the hurricanes. We sent items to our sister church in Tijuana, Mexico as well. Small groups like Ladies Lift, Deep Calling, In Grandpa's Shoes, and Jesus Essentials provided spiritual nourishment throughout the fall. Our Bloom ministry for our teen girls held a beautiful tea where the girls enjoyed delicious treats and fellowship with each other while hearing how special they are to God. We blessed our kids during our Adventure and Pathfinder Induction Sabbath, celebrating nearly 100 adventurers and over 110 Pathfinders involved in this year's Pathfinder and Adventure ministry. This year, we launched our Azure Hills app, providing effective communication for each of the groups and ministries in our church. We held youth and young adult worship nights, seeking the throne of grace together, and held quarterly blood drives to serve our community. As the year draws to a close, we turn our hearts towards gratitude. The annual Light Up Grand Terrace event was a bright success, with neighbors enjoying the nativity petting zoo, the photo booth, and the songs from our children's choir. We celebrated the light of Jesus in our Christmas musical Sabbath, which featured the orchestra, all of our choirs, and our groups. It was a moving celebration. we celebrate all that God has done through Azure Hills Church in 2024. I'm so deeply moved by the pictures we've just seen because these are pictures of God's faithfulness, and none of it would have been possible without you. Thank you for giving of your time and of your talents and of your resources to make 2024 this beautiful experience of God's grace. We thank you for remembering your church at this end of year. We count on your generosity in order to cover the ministry expenses of this year and to move forward into the next year in strength. We are called to live out those words that are in our sanctuary on our stained glass. Go ye therefore. This intergenerational, multicultural community of faith that we are, this family of God, living out this calling to join Jesus in making disciples of all nations. And the promise of God is that Jesus himself is with us as we do it. So thank you. Thank you for your generosity. May you continue to experience the presence and the faithfulness and the grace of Jesus as you move forward into this next year.